Incredible journey. Little girl's heartwarming prayer for a father revealed an unexpected miracle. In the small town of Maplewood, stories of miracles were whispered like secrets. And on a warm summer night, the touching tale of 8-year-old Lily Thompson began to unfold. With her heart full of hope, she knelt by her bed, eyes squeezed tight, as she whispered the same prayer she had uttered every single night since her father's absence. Please, God, just one more chance. Her little voice trembled, yearning for a connection she never got to fully experience. Lily's father, a Vietnam War veteran, had left behind a silent void and a tapestry of unfulfilled dreams. Her mother, Julie, worked tirelessly at the local diner, wearing badges of resilience like battle scars. Each day was a struggle, but they stayed strong, two warriors on their own, fighting the challenges life had thrown their way. The town knew them as the mother-daughter duo who managed to put a smile on their faces despite the hardships they faced. But what they didn't know was the weight of longing in Lily's heart. As summer approached, excitement buzzed in the air. The Maplewood Summer Fair was just around the corner, a cherished tradition that the community eagerly anticipated. Bright lights, laughter, and togetherness swirled around in dreams of cotton candy and carousel rides. This year, however, a shadow loomed over the festivities. Mike, a quiet newcomer, arrived with an air of mystery that stirred conversation and suspicion among the local veterans. Lily's innocent spirit didn't see the division. She saw a gentle stranger who smiled freely at her and the other children. As she got to know him, the warm bond blossomed under the sun's heavy glow. With each heartfelt conversation, Lily felt a glimmer of hope that perhaps, just perhaps, this man could be the father figure she longed for. But the whispers grew louder. The veterans spoke in hushed tones, their distrust seeping into the very fabric of their community. They judged him based on his past, their opinions twisted by hurt and fear. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the fair unfolded in a kaleidoscope of joy, Lily couldn't shake off the tension that hung in the air like a dark cloud. It all came to a head during the biggest celebration of the night. The laughter, the colors, the twinkling lights. It was a moment that should have felt perfect. With her heart racing, Lily and Mike shared a life-altering revelation. The manicured surface cracked, and amidst the clamor, he dropped the bombshell. "I'm your father, Lily." The shockwave coursed through the fairground. Gasps echoed, disbelief painted the faces of the townsfolk, and the very ground beneath them seemed to tremble. Lily's heart soared, tears of joy streaming down her cheeks as she faced her long-lost father. But Mike was a man marked by a tortured past, and as the tension thickened, the community circled their wagons tighter. Would forgiveness bloom, or would prejudice once again drive them apart? Lily stood frozen, eyes darting between the glimmer of hope for a family reunion and the weight of an unforgiving town. A storm began to brew on the horizon, reflecting the turmoil of hearts both old and new. In that pivotal moment, with emotions spiraling, the question remained: could love conquer all? Would a daughter's yearning allow them to break through the chains of distrust? The night was fraught with uncertainty, and everything was about to change. Lily's heart pounded like a drum, each beat reverberating through the chaos around her. Faces swirled in and out of focus, some filled with surprise, others brimming with suspicion. She could hardly process whether the tears of joy or the piercing glares from the townsfolk burned hotter on her cheeks. "Lily, please." Mike's voice was low, tinged with desperation. He took a cautious step forward, his hands slightly raised, as if he were approaching a frightened animal. "I know I'm a stranger to you, but I never meant to leave. I need you to understand." But the crowd's apprehension swelled, drowning out his words. Whispers rippled through the gathered townsfolk. Is he really her father? The man comes back and thinks he can waltz in? Doubt and accusation flashed across the faces of the veterans who had once fought alongside Mike, and their mistrust hung thick in the air like smoke from a long-buried fire. Lily's small frame felt enormous inside her chest. She wanted to scream, to stamp her feet and demand that they listen to her heart, that they listen to him. But all she could hear were the voices of the past, each one warning her that this stranger might bring more pain than love. Just let him talk, she finally managed to say, both to the crowd and to herself. Please. The murmurs quieted, eyes shifting between her and Mike. It felt like a moment suspended in time, like everything would break apart if she dared to take a breath. Mike exhaled slowly. I know I haven't been there, he began, his voice shaking as he held her gaze. But I fought a different kind of battle. A battle against myself, against everything I thought I had lost. Lily felt a flicker of understanding spark within her. She had read stories in school about soldiers, about sacrifices made for love of country. In a way, she wondered if this man before her had sacrificed everything just to come home. Why didn't you come back sooner? She asked, her voice trembling like the fragile thread of hope it hung on. That's the part 1 still learning to forgive myself for. Sweetheart. Sometimes coming home takes longer than you expect. But you're the reason I found my way back. His eyes glinted under the fairest brilliant lights, full of sincerity and regret. Her heart swelled, yet it felt pinned down under the weight of her doubt. Could a broken past be mended by the softness of a fatherless love? Suddenly, an older veteran stepped forward, furrowing his brows in defiance. You're troubled, Mike. You think you can step into her life after all this time? You've got demons chasing you down. That girl deserves better. The crowd shifted, the tension pulsing like a live wire. Each word carved a wound deeper than that of the last. Lily winced but stood firm. No, I'm done feeling like I'm not enough. You don't know him. You don't know my heart. The weight of her declaration hung in the air, laden with raw emotion. For the first time, Lily felt powerful amid the storm. The crowd was quiet, her voice now resonating like a beacon of resolve, shining light upon uncertainty. As Mike knelt beside her, his eyes glistening, a spark of courage ignited in both of them. The path ahead was steep and fraught with challenge. Would they emerge united, or would the barbs of history tear them apart? Just then, a rumble of thunder sliced through the sky, heralding a brewing storm. As the first drops began to fall, a new threat loomed. Their future remained untold. Would they stick together under pressure, or would the weight of others' fears pull them into darkness? With adrenaline coursing through her veins, Lily looked up at Mike, her mind racing as she sensed the urgency of the moment. What do we do now? She asked, embracing the unknown ahead. Together, they faced the tempest, ready to take a step forward. But one question echoed in both their minds. Was love strong enough to withstand the thunder of their past? Raindrops pelted the ground, turning the fair's dusty path into a slick, glimmering mess. Faces transformed under the dimming light, their expressions melting from suspicion to concern as the atmosphere shifted. The scent of rain mingled with the buttery popcorn and the earthy smell of the carnival, all so familiar yet feeling brand new tonight. Lily held her breath, the chaos around them blurring as she focused on Mike. We face it together, right? The vulnerability in her words lingered, each syllable a plea for solidarity. Mike nodded slowly, his gaze unwavering. Yes, Lily. I'll fight for you. We can find our way through this. The weight of his promise hovered like a fragile flame, desperately in need of air. The downpour crashed around them, amplifying the tension. The crowd remained frozen, eyes darting between the father and daughter, the tension a living thing. Then, a voice emerged from the back, soft at first but gaining strength. It was Claire, a childhood friend, who had watched the two of them from the sidelines. What's the point of mistrust? She cried, stepping forward. Every day is a chance to start over. Look at them. Do we really want to deny someone a second chance? Lily's heart quickened at Claire's outburst. Could it be that simple? Could the tide of anger be turned by one person's courage? Mike looked to Lily, his eyes reflecting a mixture of gratitude and hope. Encouraged, Claire continued, "None of us are without flaws. Don't we all deserve to heal?" She surveyed the crowd, willing them to understand, to feel, so that they might let go of their harbored rage. The storm raged above, but below, the wind began to shift. Murmurs rippled through the spectators. Faces softened at the realization that fear was not the only option. People started nodding, exchanging glances, their own burdens weighing heavy in their hearts. Lily felt a surge of something she hadn't expected: the warmth of community. They had all been touched by pain, but here and now, they could forge a new path. "You don't have to forgive him or defend him," she implored the crowd. "Just let us try. Let us find our way in this storm together." The words hung in the air, charged with electricity. Hearts beat louder, swelling with empathy and the shared knowledge of life's unpredictability. Mike stepped forward again, his voice low yet steady. "I may stumble, I may fall, but I promise I'll be here. I will make things right, and I will do it for you." As he spoke, the rain sobbed harder, but within that chaos, a sense of unity began to form. People started to whisper among themselves, the rhythm of understanding and forgiveness beginning to take root. Suddenly, a flash of lightning split the sky, illuminating shadows that danced across the townspeople's faces. In that very moment, Lily felt the fragile connection between her past, present, and uncertain future. Together, she whispered, her voice a thread connecting her to Mike and the crowd. Together, he echoed, looking into her eyes. They stood side by side, a new force amid the storm. But then, as the laughter of children and the vibrant shouts of the fair returned with the rain, a silence fell over Mike. He turned white as a ghost. I brought something for you, Lily. I thought it might give you hope." With a shaky hand, he pulled something from his jacket. Was it too late for a gift? Could it hold the answers they desperately needed? Lily's pulse quickened, curiosity blending with hope. The storm raged on, but in this small moment, a life-changing revelation was on the brink of unfolding. What had he hidden in his heart all this time, and would it prove to be the miracle they both needed? Mike's hands trembled as he slowly revealed a small, neatly folded piece of paper from his jacket, drenched in rain. With the storm as a backdrop, his fingers slid across the surface, like he was handling something fragile and sacred. The crowd held its breath, their eyes glued to the father and daughter. A collective heartbeat echoed through the gathering. "Lily, this is more than just a gift. It's a map a way back." He unfolded the paper, revealing a sketch that was almost childlike in its simplicity but powerful in its message. It was a drawing of their old house, the one flooded with sweet memories and laughter. Next to it, Mike had drawn a path, the journey they traveled, full of bumps and turns but ultimately leading back home. A tear slipped down Lily's cheek. She remembered that house, its creaks and laughter. A sense of nostalgia washed over her, but on the horizon of that memory was another feeling: hope. "Daddy, you want to go home?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "Yes, Lily. I want to go home. I want to make this right." His voice cracked. "I want to rebuild what we lost." The crowd watched in silence as Mike spoke, the rain pouring down like an unbroken column of sorrow, but also cleansing them of the heaviness they had been carrying. With each word, he slowly ripped down the walls built by fears and accidents of the past. Claire stepped forward, her heart swelling with emotion. "This is beautiful, Mike," she said, her voice unwavering against the backdrop of thunder. "This is the start, not an end. It is brave to show your heart this way." Lily's gaze swept over the crowd, which began to shift with renewed energy. People stepped closer, drawn in by the vulnerability displayed before them. Many nodded, recognizing their own struggles in Mike's journey. Here was a father who had faltered. Here was a daughter who loved him anyway. "Let us share our stories," someone shouted from the back, a voice trembling yet vibrant. "Let us find our way together." Cheers erupted, the sound rising like a phoenix from the ashes of broken trust. With each voice that joined in, a sense of connection ignited. People began to open up, sharing tales of loss and pain, but more importantly, stories of triumph and resilience. The rain continued to pour, but together, they felt it wash away the darkness that had once consumed them. Lily let out a small laugh that was a mix of relief and happiness. In this moment, they were creating a bridge over troubled waters. "We can all start fresh," she said, feeling the embers of hope spark in her chest. "Daddy, we're not alone anymore." As Mike clasped his daughter, a small, warm hand in his, a single raindrop tapped his shoulder, a whisper of a promise that the storm would pass, and there was light ahead. Together, he echoed again. But this time, it wasn't just between him and Lily. It was an entire community pledging to turn the page. The crowd's energy surged, hearts beating as one. Yet as the laughter rose and the storm began to relent, a flicker of an old memory surged through Mike. What had he been hiding? As he scanned the crowd, he caught sight of a figure standing at the edge, a shadow from his past. It sent chills down his spine. Could it be the one person he feared most? The moment hung. The laughter faded, and a hush fell over the fair once again. All eyes were on Mike as he fought through a wave of panic. "Wait. There's something you need to know." Mike's words danced in the air, but fear snaked its way through him, tightening its grip around his heart. The crowd, once roaring with hope, now teetered on the edge of uncertainty. He could feel every gaze probing him, waiting for what he would say next. The figure at the edge began to step forward, rain glistening on their features, revealing a familiar face he'd long buried in his memories. Lisa. The thought of her sent a rush of emotions flooding in guilt, anger, longing. Hadn't he fought so hard to push her out of his mind? Yet, here she stood, her presence like a flash of lightning illuminating the dark corners of his past. "Mike," she called out, her voice almost a whisper amid the dwindling storm. The warmth of the moment shifted. The crowd's energy transformed from shared joy to a collective tension, anticipation hanging thick. Lily sensed the shift too, squeezing her father's hand tighter. "Daddy, who is she?" There was innocence in her question, a reminder of the world they had built in that old house far away. "Someone I once knew," he murmured, his heart racing. "Someone who made choices that hurt us." The rain softened, droplets now falling like scattered tears, each one a reminder of mistakes made. Mike's mind raced. In that instant, decisions he thought were settled once again flooded him, memories of laughter in the kitchen, days spent building a life, and nights spent filled with silence. "I didn't come to cause trouble," Lisa said, her voice steadier now, growing stronger as she stepped closer. "I came to apologize." The honesty in her tone cut through the murmur of the crowd, tangible and raw. "You can't just show up after what you did," Mike shot back, his words biting. But they were laced with an undertone of confusion. This wasn't a confrontation. This was something far deeper. "Mike, I know I messed up. I see that now. I've spent so long trying to forget what I did to you, to us, but I can't." Her eyes searched his, reflecting the rain and vulnerability in each glimmer. "I came back to finally take responsibility. I owe it to you and Lily. A part of me wants to help you rebuild." The murmurs in the crowd faded as they absorbed Lisa's words. Some faces showed forgiveness, while others remained skeptical. Mike's heart ached, the love for his daughter swinging against the weight of his past. Is this what they needed? Could she truly be sincere? Lily, sensing the undercurrent of tension, spoke after a long pause. "You want to help us rebuild? Then why did you run away?" The innocent honesty struck home with an undeniable clarity, piercing through Mike's doubts. Lisa's breath caught for a moment, her resolve faltering as she looked down. "Because I was scared," she finally admitted, her voice quaking. "But look at how far you've all come, how brave you've been. I need to learn from you." Around them, the crowd began to murmur again, unsure but intrigued. Could they accept this sudden twist? This wayward figure stepping back into their lives? Hope flickered, tentative and fragile, much like the map Mike had shared. "Let us just be honest with each other. Every one of us," Mike said, louder this time, his voice shaking but holding firm. I need to know the truth before we can ever move forward." As the weight of his own words settled over him, an excited buzz began to ripple through the crowd. a shared understanding threading their stories together. But deep inside, Mike felt uncertainty clenching at his heart as Lisa's gaze locked with his, the storm of their past stretching thin, ready to break. What would happen if he opened that old door, let the memories flood back in? Would it bring closure or more chaos? Can we really move forward? He whispered, the question hanging heavy in the air, unanswered. And just like that, the crowd shifted again, waiting for what might come next. The sound of the rain lightning outside seemed to mirror the weight in Mike's chest. They stood at a crossroads, a moment filled with potential. Lisa, looking more fragile than he'd ever remembered, took a step and let silence envelop them. The crowd sensed the tension, their breaths bated as if on the brink of something monumental. Mike, Lisa said softly, her voice taut with trepidation, I wish I could change the past. But I can't. All I can do is face it and ask you to help me. His heart twisted at her words. It felt like a dead weight pulling him further down. How could he trust her again? Would his choice to forgive mean letting in more hurt? Lily's tiny hand in his felt as if it were grounding him, reminding him of the innocent hope they had fought so hard to build. Help you? He echoed, feeling the crowd stir around them. After everything? You're asking to come back into our lives just like that? Yes. She stepped closer, hands trembling at her sides. I want to show you how I've changed. I've been running away from the pain, and I realize now that I need to confront it. I need your forgiveness. I need to earn a place in your lives again. Earn it? His voice cracked. There is so much more involved than just earning it. You left us, Lisa. You turned your back when we needed you most. Lily squeezed Mike's hand, her voice barely above a whisper. Daddy, she looked sad. The innocence in her tone pierced through Mike's defenses, softening his anger. Lisa dropped her gaze, a tear escaping down her cheek, reflecting the fading storm. I can't undo the past. I can't change what I did. But I genuinely want to be here for you both. I want to show you, to prove to you, that I am no longer that scared girl who ran away. A silence spread across the crowd, some faces softening in understanding, while others remained wary. Mike felt the cacophony of enclosed emotions swirling inside him. He wanted to rage, to scream, to lock away the pain she had caused. Yet beneath that turmoil, there was something else, a flicker of the hope they once had for each other. What do you think, Lily? He asked, suddenly looking down at his daughter. The innocence in her eyes, expectant and full of trust, brought a lump to his throat. She hesitated, looking up at Lisa, then back at Mike. Can she really help us? I want to try, Lisa responded, her voice thick as she turned her gaze to the girl. I promise to try, for you and for your dad. Mike closed his eyes for a moment, caught between the possibilities of what Lisa's prediction of change might bring and the protective instincts that shrieked for caution. It's not just going to be easy, he warned, feeling the tremor of uncertainty. This is not just about you and your past. There are two people in this, two lives that you've touched and hurt. Then let us face that together, Lisa urged, her voice breaking slightly. Let us start fresh. I don't want to hide from what happened anymore. He felt the weight of his daughter's hand in his, giving him strength. Could they ever put the pieces back together? The murmurs of the crowd grew around them again, quieter now, an ebbing tide of curiosity and cautious hope. Their eyes were all on him, waiting for a decision from the only one who mattered the most at that moment. I don't know if I can forgive you, he breathed, the honesty stinging in the air. But maybe we can start with honesty. Lisa nodded, understanding etched on her features. That's all I ask. Mike grabbed hold of Lily's hand tightly, his heart racing with uncertainty. They were on the precipice of a decision that could change everything. As they stood there facing Lisa, the storm clouds seemed to release one final burst of rain, a symbolic cleansing. But with the weight of honesty came new questions. Could they truly find healing in the wreckage of their past? Lily's soft voice pierced through. Can we try to be a family again? Her words sent chills down Mike's spine. And just like that, he was left contemplating the impossible. What did being a family truly mean in the face of such tangled history? Could they forge a new path, together this time, Or would the scars of the past continue to haunt them? The rain had softened into a gentle patter, but the air still crackled with tension. Mike stood at a crossroads that felt both familiar and terrifying. He looked down at Lily, who was staring at him with wide eyes. Her innocence wrapped around him like a lifeline, a reminder of everything good and pure in his life. It was hard to breathe, but he forced himself to face Lisa again. Lily, he hesitated, searching for the right words. This is a big ask, sweetheart. We have to think carefully. Lisa's gaze flickered back to his, filled with a mixture of hope and despair. I understand, she said softly. Time is all I need. Just give me a chance to show you I'm serious about making things right. Why now? Mike asked, his frustration slipping out despite his resolve to remain calm. You run away when things get hard and now you just show up? I can't explain it all right now, Lisa replied, her voice trembling. I've spent so long avoiding my own mistakes. I want to be there for you, to share the burden of our past together. I can finally see that running was only hurting me even more. You think it's that simple? He pressed, anger simmering beneath his skin. You think you can just walk back into our lives and fix everything with a few promises? I don't know how to fix it, she admitted, her voice breaking. But I want to try. I want to be part of your lives again, starting slowly, if that's what it takes. Mike's throat tightened. Did he really want to open this door? As he processed Lisa's words, a memory flickered through his mind. Of nights spent dreaming of a perfect family. Of laughter shared over dinner. Of Lily's first steps. The reality of their shared time felt like a shadow of the past. Would bringing Lisa back mean recapturing some of that joy, or would it add more scars to the existing wounds? Lily, he turned to her, you know what it means to get hurt, right? That sometimes people don't change? We have to be careful. I know, Daddy, she murmured, her voice small yet steady. But maybe we can give her a chance? People can get better. Her innocent faith in the idea tugged at a fragile part of his heart. He turned back to Lisa, searching her eyes for any sign of deceit. What he saw reflected back was sincerity, that deep yearning for connection. His protective instincts screamed against this budding hope. Fine. You can start by coming to dinner with us tonight. Just dinner. No promises after that. Lisa brightened at his words, a blend of relief and gratitude washing over her. Thank you, Mike. I swear I won't waste this opportunity. His heart raced, caught between the past and a potential future. He still didn't know what this relationship could become, but he felt the first glimmers of a precarious step towards healing. Lily beamed up at Lisa. Can we have spaghetti? She asked, her eyes sparkling. Of course. Lisa chuckled softly, her spirit visibly lifting. Spaghetti sounds perfect. As they began to walk away, the murmur of the crowd faded into the background, but the weight of their decision lingered in the air. Mike felt the warmth of Lily's small hand in his, a reminder of their togetherness, of love unfurling against the odds. But not far behind them, doubt loomed heavy in Mike's mind. Was he doing the right thing? Could they really navigate this treacherous terrain? Would Lisa truly keep her word this time? The path ahead was fraught with uncertainty, and yet, as they stepped into the lingering evening light, hope flickered quietly alongside the threats of the past. What lay ahead would require not just courage but perhaps the healing they desperately needed. As they turned the corner toward home, Mike couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Just then, a thought struck him hard. If Lisa were truly ready to face their past, what truths would unfold along this journey? How deep did the scars go? And could they really heal together? The evening air was tinged with the comforting aroma of garlic and tomato as Mike prepared for dinner. He moved around the kitchen with a practiced ease, yet his heart felt heavy. The excitement of Lily's chatter faded into a background hum. She was busy setting the table, her little hands moving with a sense of purpose Mike hadn't seen in a while. Daddy, can we set out the fancy plates? She called, eyes bright with the simple joy of a home-cooked meal. He paused, glancing at her with a faint smile. Sure, Lily. Let us make it special. His words hung in the air like a fragile promise, reflective of the uncertainty clouding his mind. He couldn't shake the image of Lisa's hopeful face from earlier, but with hope came doubt, a storm brewing just beneath the surface. As the minutes ticked by, the kettle began to hum, signaling the water was ready for the pasta. Just then, the doorbell rang, sending a ripple of anxious energy through Mike. His heart thudded in his chest as he wiped his hands on a dish towel and moved towards the door. "Daddy!" Lily gasped, rushing to his side. "It's Lisa." Taking a deep breath, Mike opened the door. There stood Lisa, looking a bit apprehensive but determined, holding a small bouquet of flowers. "I thought these might brighten up the table," she said, her voice a mix of eagerness and vulnerability. "Thanks," he replied, taking the flowers out of her hands. Her eyes searched his, and he felt the weight of that moment, a fragile hope hanging in the balance. Inside, they settled around the dinner table, the atmosphere heavy with unspoken words. Mike served the spaghetti, attempting to fill the silence with the sound of clinking forks and laughter. He watched as Lily animatedly shared her day, her enthusiasm flowing unrestrained between the adults. "Did you know I aced my spelling test?" She beamed, her eyes darting between her father and Lisa. "That's amazing," Lisa praised, her warmth flooding into the moment. "Yep. She's getting so smart," Mike added, forcing a smile that felt a little too tight. Watching them interact, he saw glimmers of the family he always dreamed of, a momentary escape from worry. But as the meal progressed, a quiet tension settled in, and Mike found himself stealing glances at Lisa, gauging her demeanor. The hurt and anger that had simmered for years loomed just beneath the surface. Yet, with each laugh shared between Lily and her mother, Mike noticed that the old walls inside him were beginning to crack. "Can we pray?" Lily suddenly asked, her little hands clasped together, eyes sparkling in innocence. Mike exchanged a look with Lisa, and she nodded, her own expression softening. "Sure, sweetie," he said, feeling both a warmth and a twinge of fear. They closed their eyes, and Lily's small voice cut through the air, clear and full of sincerity. "Dear God, please help us to be one happy family again. Help Mom be here with us, and make sure we all get along." Mike's heart constricted at her simple request, the weight of it washing over him. It was pure and innocent, a child's wish that held so much power. When they opened their eyes, Lisa's gaze was shimmering with unshed tears. "I didn't expect that," she murmured, a flicker of something bittersweet in her expression. "Sometimes kids know the truth better than we do," Mike said softly, an unspoken question floating between them. Could they, as adults, follow the lead of such pure hope? As they continued their meal, Mike felt a complicated mix of emotions flood through him. The evening might bring joy, or it could collapse into chaos at any moment. Each laugh, each moment shared felt like a tightrope walk. He wondered if this was the beginning of a new chapter, or if they were standing on shaky ground. What would tomorrow bring when the sun rose? Then, as if to answer his unspoken question, the door creaked open again. Another figure entered, casting a shadow that left Mike feeling cold. He couldn't see who it was yet, but the feeling of impending turmoil tightened in his gut. What had he gotten them into? The figure stepped into the light, revealing a tall man with broad shoulders and an expression that could freeze time. It was Jake, Lisa's brother, and the memory of their last confrontation flooded Mike's mind like a storm. The air around them crackled with an unspoken tension. "Hey, is everything all right?" Jake asked, his brow furrowed with genuine concern. Mike couldn't tell if it was for Lisa or if it was aimed at him. He cleared his throat, a battle between instinct and politeness overwhelming him. "Dinner's almost ready," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "Mind if I join?" Jake stepped further inside, his eyes darting between his sister and her ex-husband. The atmosphere snapped tighter, and Mike felt a sudden flash of protectiveness. Lily, blissfully unaware, reached for the spaghetti. "Lily, maybe you should help me in the kitchen for a moment," Mike suggested, desperate to shield their daughter from whatever was about to unfold. She nodded eagerly and followed him, leaving Lisa and Jake at the table. In the kitchen, every clatter was loud enough to echo in the stillness. Mike busied himself, stirring the pasta and adjusting the sauce, all while his thoughts whirled. He glanced at Lily, who was carefully arranging utensils. "Do you think it's going to be okay?" she asked softly, her eyebrows knit together. I hope so," he said, his heart aching at how much she wanted everything to be right again. "Let us focus on making this dinner a good one, all right?" "Okay." She smiled, oblivious to the tension mounting just a few feet away. Back at the table, Lisa and Jake sat in silence, exchanging glances filled with weighty, unspoken words. The silence was loud, but Mike hesitated to interrupt. Just as he returned with a plate, Jake cleared his throat. "Lisa, we need to talk about Becca. It's getting out of hand." Mike's stomach dropped. Becca was Lisa's estranged sister, someone Mike had long hoped to keep out of their family dynamics. Hadn't they just begun to build a bridge? "Tonight isn't the time, Jake," Lisa shot back, her voice tight. "We haven't even gotten through dinner yet. Do you think ignoring it will help?" "You can't sweep a problem under the rug forever," he replied, his voice rising slightly. Lily's eyes flickered from her mother to her uncle. She could sense the shift, the gravity of the conversation landing hard on her small shoulders. "Can we talk about something else?" Mike decided to step in. "Maybe we just enjoy this dinner like we were. We made this together." He gestured at the meal, but the tension sat heavy in the space between words. "Nice try, Mike," Jake chuckled sardonically. "But it's not that simple." His gaze shifted back to Lisa. "Are you really going to stand by and let this family fall apart?" The question echoed in the air, thick with confrontation. Lisa chewed on her lip, glancing at Mike, perhaps weighing the risk of packing away years of hurt in hope of a better future. "Lily, why don't you help me set the table again?" Mike said quickly, sensing the dam about to break. As Lily hopped up, excited to aid in their small family mission, Mike caught Lisa's eye. There was something there, fear mingled with hope, a reflection of the evenings they lost, but also a hint of determination. "Let us keep it light," he murmured to her, needing her to hold onto that thread of hope. She nodded slowly, and for a fleeting moment, Mike felt a spark. Could they really navigate this mess? But before anyone could find footing, the doorbell rang again. The sound shattered the fragile peace that had just formed. Mike's heart sank. What now? With each unexpected guest, the weight of the evening grew heavier, and he could only wonder if they had the strength to face whatever came next. Who could it be this time? As Mike opened the door, the evening wore a coat of uncertainty. There stood Grandma Ellen, her hair a tousled silver halo that glimmered against the softening rain. She had a look of concern etched across her features. "I felt I should come by," she exclaimed, stepping inside and shaking off droplets from her coat. "Granny!" Lily squealed, dashing over to hug her tightly. The warmth of innocence wrapped around them. Yet Mike's heart was still pierced by the storm brewing outside and inside. He sighed, trying to balance the unexpected arrival with the fragile hope they were nurturing at the table. "We're just having dinner, Grandma." But Ellen's gaze traveled past him into the living room, where Lisa and Jake sat in uneasy silence. Lily turned and waved merrily, oblivious to the underlying tension. "Looks like a gathering of sorts," Granny remarked, her eyes narrowing ever so slightly. "How is everyone doing?" Before anyone could respond, Lily chimed in, "Mommy's back, and we made spaghetti." Ellen's wide smile faltered a bit as she processed that truth. Beneath the surface, Mike felt the shadow of doubt flare again, but he brushed it aside, focusing on Lily. "You did great, Pumpkin," he said, hoping to fill the air with some lightness. "Things were unpredictable tonight. Can I help?" Granny asked, as she caught up with Lily in the kitchen. Mike turned back to Jake and Lisa, finding both of them in a silent standoff. "Maybe we should hold off on heavy conversations until after dinner? Let us enjoy the moment." "Good idea, Mike," Jake said, an edge softening in his tone. But Lisa seemed to have her own thoughts echoing in her heart. "I want to be honest with you, Mike. The past isn't easy to unpack, but it's crucial to have this talk." He felt a sense of conflict rise again, but with Lily darting in and out, laughter echoing like a tender bridge. He took a deep breath. You can share your honesty after we eat. Moments later, dinner brimmed with chatter and clinking forks. Lily animatedly shared stories about school, and even Ellen couldn't help but laugh. Mike tried to absorb warmth from the beautiful connection forming around the table, even as an unsettled weight sat on his chest. Can I tell you all something? Lily suddenly asked, her bright eyes sparkling like the stars peeking through the scattered clouds. Absolutely, Granny encouraged, leaning in with her elbows on the table. I prayed tonight, she said softly, that we could all be happy together, a family again. The unspoken weight settled deeply. Mike exchanged a thoughtful look with Lisa, whose gaze softened at their daughter's earnest wish. Could they fulfill that innocent prayer? After dinner, as the plates were cleared, the tension cracked open again. Little by little, the discussion shifted back to the vulnerable realities they all faced. I need to address this about Becca, Jake said, his tone slightly strained. Trust me, it's important for Lisa. Can we just not right now? Lisa shot back, emotion bubbling through her. Mike felt the tightness in his throat as he watched them. Let us just focus on being present for Lily tonight, please. Ellen looked back and forth between them, her brow furrowed. It seems like this needs to be said. No, it does not. Lisa exclaimed, her temper flaring slightly. I didn't come back for conflict. Then what did you come back for? Jake challenged, standing firm. Whispers of concern rolled through the room as all eyes turned. Mike felt the immense pressure surrounding him, every heart thumping with uncertainty. Lily quietly tugged at his shirt, and when he looked down, she whispered, Daddy, I want everyone to smile like they were before. The innocent words struck a chord deep within him. Listen, everyone, he said, I think we can find a way through this if we focus on Lily. Yes, we have scars, but together we've also made some of the happiest moments I can remember. Let us hold on to that. Jake studied Mike closely, weighing his options. You're really willing to forgive, Mike? I can't pretend to forget, but I want our daughter to find solace and joy in her family. Everyone held their breath, and for a moment, it felt like the winds had calmed in the storm swirling around them. Lisa caught Mike's gaze, and though they carried the weight of their past, there was a hint of shared understanding between them. A small step could lead to a family reunion. Seeing that spark, Granny spoke up. Sometimes we bury our pain so deep we forget how to heal together. Let tonight be a reminder that forgiveness can bloom, even in stormy weather. With love radiating through Lily's innocent spirit, the air shifted. Can we play a game? She suggested, bursting with personal anticipation for joy. Games sound fun. Granny agreed, her eyes lighting up while Mike felt his heart loosen. The table cleared, and as they gathered around for a game, laughter surged again. It wasn't an overnight solution. He knew that, but together, they could make a way forward. As the game unfolded, conversations danced in the air, punctuated by laughter and playful nudges. Small glances passed between Mike and Lisa, some lingering discomfort still there but less heavy. Could this night mark the first step into a stronger journey instead of a retreat into pain? As they played, the light inside Mike swelled with affection for Lily and the renewed connection with Lisa, fleeting yet alive. He wanted to believe in a brighter future, one where love sparked even in the throes of conflict. Time to remember the light amidst shadows, he thought, feeling an unshakable faith manifest within their fragile yet strong gathering. The night wore on, but as the clock chimed, Mike felt a sense of peace settle around them, a gentle promise of new beginnings. As the game ended, Lily leaned towards him. Can we pray again, Daddy? He smiled, feeling the warmth of family surround him. Yes, my love. Let us do it. Gathered close, their hearts intertwined, they whispered their hopes into the world, daring to believe in second chances. With Lily's small hand clasped tightly in his, Mike embraced the moment, feeling the weight of his heart ease as love broke through an unexpected miracle in the quiet of Maplewood that night. And somehow, amid darkness and uncertainty, they found a flicker of real joy and connection, a shared body of hope that promised to guide them through whatever storms lay ahead. Life was about to change, and they were ready to face it together. Now is your moment to join in. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this heartfelt ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Let us build this community of hope together.